How's it going, Warriors Alike? I'm Mayf, a British veteran cosplaying as a Lalafell with hate in my heart and one in the chamber, and today I'm going to tell you why picking Machinist in Final Fantasy is the most combat veteran coded, tactically degenerate, legally dubious choice you can make. And you're going to love it. Let's go. If you're like me, you were stood at the Aferis job convention like,
hey guys, check out my new camera. Oh wait, this isn't the camera.
If Gunbreaker is 3 DPS in a trench coat, then Machinist is the kid who turns up in a trench coat. Welcome to Second Amendment the job, where you're American in rights and Canadian when it comes to ignoring the Geneva suggestions, because Flamethrower says no.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
This isn't a job that asks, it acts. No healing, no buffing, no casting, just cold, calculated damage and the same rotation so consistent it could qualify as a military drill. When you're playing Machinist, you don't cast fire 4, you call in fire support. It's a DPS that plays like it's under pressure, even when it's not. It doesn't care about trip luck or dancing between procs. Your damage comes from discipline, tight execution, clean timing and never missing a shot. Like me playing airsoft against toddlers. No theatrics, just ruthless efficiency. There's no panic button, no get out of jail free card. Machinist is pure responsibility. If something goes wrong, it's your fault, and if it goes right, you don't look back. You reload, and if in doubt, you just empty your mag. This job doesn't want your synergy, it doesn't need your crit buffs. It shows up with a personal weapons locker and ends the conversation in 10 seconds or less. And I know what you're thinking. But Myth, how could you kill innocent bosses and minions?
Easy! You just don't lead them so much!
Thank God friendly fire isn't a mechanic in this game. It's the only reason tanks survive Machinists to whom it may concern playstyle, because if it was, your core tank would have been vaporized somewhere between drill and hypercharge. Murphy's Law says friendly fire isn't, and that law lives rent free on your hotbar. Every time you hit wildfire, you're not trying to optimize, you're trying to see if your team can survive the fucking sun. Just make sure you shout splash before. There's no room for finesse. Collateral damage is a feature, not a bug. If Chainsaw had a cleave, half the raid would be painting the walls. Murphy's Law wasn't written for Machinist, but the Machinist plays like it's following a classified edition. If anything can go wrong, it will. And if it hasn't yet, you're about to hit reassemble on the wrong GCD and find out. Overheat too early? Tactical realism. Wildfire clipped by your sneeze? Just another live fire exercise. This job doesn't forgive mistakes, it records them for ballistic analysis. You show up to the fight strapped like it's Fallujah, look across the party and see a scholar flipping through their dusty spellbook like,
What the fuck is that?
not casting, just vaguely gesturing at it. And you're standing there with a full auto heat thrower strapped to your soul. They've got pages. You've got payload that could bust a Vieira's Hymen through a brick wall.
Giggity, 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 ooh.
If this game had true physics, tanks wouldn't be your front line, they'd be behind you holding the white flag and hoping you remembered your safety. But they're not. They're face pulling a primal while you deploy a sentient mech with zero regard for bystanders. To hell with the ROE. I'm about to turn Dancing Green into a smoking crater. And you can fund my reckless disregard for public safety by becoming a member for less than it cost my parents to pretend they were happy together. Let's talk about your core combo, or as I like to call it, the OSHA violation trilogy. You've got drill, air anchor, and everyone's favourite war crime with a spinny bit. Rocket-propelled chainsaws, for when you want to say screw that guy from really far away. These are the big three, the holy trinity of industrial strength over compensation. Drill is exactly what it sounds like, a high velocity power tool you somehow fire like a gun. Why? Because this job stopped asking questions at level 30. You don't aim it, you just pray your ping behaves and sends it straight into the boss's kneecaps like a pneumatic love letter to corporate negligence. Then comes air anchor, which sounds like naval equipment, but it is actually just you throwing an angry metal grappling hook powered by spite and steam. It restores battery, hits like a truck, and has all the tactical subtlety of kicking in a door with a boom mic strapped to your chest. And finally, the Geneva suggestions make clear no weapons that cause unnecessary suffering. That's subjective. I happen to think the chainsaw is
Super necessary.
This isn't a weapon, it's a rocket-propelled lumberjack solution to every problem. Wolf being mildly inconvenient? Chainsaw. Bird flying by too loudly? Chainsaw. Ex-wife nagging you mid-raid? You yeet it across the field with the grace of a Home Depot employee on the last nerve and watch it arc through the air like a delivery of peace in the Middle East. Together, these form the rotational trinity of Don't Touch Me, cycling every 60 seconds like a perfectly maintained war crime generator. You're not optimizing, you're upholding the sacred tradition of overkill. This isn't a toolkit. It's a home improvement episode, directed by Michael Bay. Now, in the words that every veteran ever will understand, I'm going to need everyone to hurry up and wait while I talk about something way more important for a second. June is PTSD Awareness Month, and it's a time for us to recognise and support those who are living with post-traumatic stress disorder. PTSD can affect anyone who has experienced a traumatic event, whether it's combat, a natural disaster, an accident, or any other life-altering experience. It's more common than many realise, and it's something that can touch anyone's life, including our friends and loved ones. Raising awareness is the first step towards breaking the stigma and helping those affected find the support they need. And to the silent sufferers, I'm speaking both as a combat veteran with the disorder and as a friend to many in my battalion who lost their battle to it. You are not alone, so please don't try to deal with this on your own. Seek help. Share the weight. You're strong.
but you're not invincible.
And just when you thought it couldn't get louder, here comes Hypercharge, a 7-second window where your gun stops being a ranged weapon and starts behaving like a fax machine possessed by the ghost of Rambo. You went to overheat, slam out 5 blazing shots like you're filling paperwork at gunpoint, and sprinkle in double check and checkmate, because suppressing fire is a whole ass mood, not just a fun order. And oh boy, is your 2IC gonna have fun gathering the next ammo state. It's not a burst phase, it's a controlled munitions test, and the only reason the floor doesn't collapse is because Final Fantasy XIV doesn't simulate structural integrity. And all that ammo happy chaos, it's just the warm-up act for the battery gauge, which builds up over time like America's military spending, with only 50 required to summon your robo waifu, though you'll likely wait till between 80 and 100 for peak Skynet, a remote-controlled war widow who shows up with 0 dialogue, 0 questions, and absolutely 0 interest in anything other than being the dummy mommy she was designed to be. I call her Pavlo. She jumps in, provides the boss with a convenient mid-fight prostate check with both her hands on his shoulders, and leaves without even pretending she knows you. It's not a summon, it's a boss assassination subcontract. Your job isn't to manage the uptime, your job is to show up, hypercharge your zip code into the dust, call in the queen for cleanup, and then stand there like you're not responsible for the crater where Phase 2 used to be. Every 60 seconds you become a walking arms deal. In between, you're just politely reloading like nothing happened. Let's talk about utility, or as a machinist calls it, someone else's problem. You don't have raid buffs, you don't have healing, you don't contribute to the party dynamic. What you do have is disassemble, which isn't a carefully calculated debuff, it's just a mid-rotation tantrum because you can't fish out your next mag. So you're chucking a wrench at the boss, because nothing says stand by than a face full of bludgeoning damage. The boss does 10% less damage, not because of magic, strategy or engineering, but because it's momentarily too confused to commit to violence. You've temporarily lowered its DPS by activating the universal constant of confusion, and if I'm honest, partial arousal. It's not a king, shut up! Then there's Tactician, your AoE mitigation, which you toss out like a used napkin during a firefight, because someone said you should probably try to be a team player. Machinist doesn't support the team so much as it begrudgingly tolerates their presence in between reload animations. This is a job where your contribution to the group's survivability is legally classed as symbolic. There are no buffs to line up, no cards to draw, no dancers to coordinate. This isn't a team building exercise, this is late stage capitalism with a heat gauge. You didn't roll a job, you cast a vote for democracy through superior firepower. Every other DPS is playing a game of shared responsibility. Machinist plays solo queue in a co-op game. You could synergize with the group, but that sounds suspiciously like communism. As Murphy's Law says, anything you can do can get you shot, including doing nothing. So keep doing something, loudly, often, and with increasingly illegal hardware. At the end of the day, Machinist isn't about being the best DPS. It's about being the most heavily armed liability on the field. You are what happens when someone gives a veteran a toolbox and 0 adult supervision. You're not the guy the raid was expecting, you're the guy who showed up anyway. You don't bring support tools or raid buffs or coordinated synergy, you bring a drill, a flamethrower, and the quiet understanding that if something goes wrong, someone else will probably fix it. Leave the healers to figure out who lives after. You don't rotate, you cycle through stress responses. Reassemble, that's your deep breath button. Wildfire, that's your broken arrow danger close, just kill everyone except us. Automaton Queen, you're not even sure where she came from. All you know is she salutes once and then goes absolutely feral, like when you give the new guy the 50 in a convoy. It's not a true story. If it's stupid but works, it's not stupid. You're not here to top the meters. It's 7.2. The only thing you're topping is the list of those who resent the devs the most right now. Honestly, I swear that my 13 freezing at the moment. But let's face it, as a Fizz range, you're the token addition to the stack. Isn't it time you celebrated that position? With a playlist of Creedence Clearwater Revival and an unjustified escalation of force. Meditate on that whilst you hit like and subscribe. Here's a rocket-propelled chainsaw. Catch!